One moment, John. I'm going to have a technical difficulty on this end. One moment, John.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, here we go. This is the Daily Wrestling News for January 14th, 2021. My name is Ryan Joy, and I'm coming to you live from Minutes to Bell Time Studios on the beautiful Treasure Coast of the Sunshine State. I'm joined today by EWP Senior NXT Correspondent, John Smith. John, how are you?
Oh, doing great today, man. Had a fun night of watching 2 shows last night, and I'm ready to talk about it.
All right. Well, that's good because we have, like you said, we had 2 loaded shows last night to get through. Plus, we have trivia, we have news, we have the ridiculously random non-wrestling audience needs to know you question, better question today. I've started 2 shows now in 32 with technical difficulties. I am ready to make my January 14th resolution to never do that again. So apparently, so what happens is if I had another browser open with the show playing, and that's bit me twice. So I need to stop that.
Makes sense. Yeah, I was wondering where that feedback was coming from.
Yeah. Well, I can edit. I can't edit the live feed, obviously, but I can edit the show in post. So
now people know we're genuine, right?
There you go. There you go. Okay. Well, are you ready, John?
I am ready. Let's get rolling.
All right, today's ridiculously random non-wrestling audience needs to know you better question of the day is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Pick'em. It's a place where you can join or host a Pick'em league to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And I went perfect on AEW Dynamite last night with my predictions. How'd you do, John?
Pretty sure I only got the Ty Conti match wrong when I'm looking at it. Yeah.
And I picked Serena Deeb, but I'll tell you, the match was a lot closer than I was comfortable with that prediction. So
yeah, it was definitely Conti's best match to date, in my opinion. I don't know why Hunter let her go. I mean, she's got a very unique look. She's gorgeous. She's awesome in the ring. I don't know how she slipped out of his fingers, but
well, a lot of people have this year. But on to the ridiculously random non-wrestling audience needs to know you better question of the day. What is the best cut of steak?
I don't even think this is debatable, but it's definitely ribeye. Whether you make it as a roast, as a prime rib, or you have a nice thick cut, bone in, bone out, whatever, dry aged is preferred, but it doesn't need to happen because there's so much flavor involved in a ribeye. I know people like to say that filet is the best. Yeah, it's the leanest. It's, it cuts like butter, but if you don't have the fat up in there, then you don't have a lot of the flavor. So I definitely got to go with ribeye. And on the other end of the spectrum, New York strip is way overpriced, in my opinion. It's like a big sirloin.
Well, this is a boring conversation. I totally agree. I have nothing else to offer. Ribeye is
I'm glad we see eye to eye on that.
Yeah, that is my preferred option on the menu, always.
That would have been really embarrassing for me if you came back with, New York strip steak is my favorite.
Yeah, I prefer a cube steak or a hamburger. No, ribeye. Yeah, ribeye is the way to go. All right, so folks, next time you're at wherever you get steak, the grocery store, a restaurant, ribeye is the way to go from us. Okay, John, NXT or Dynamite, who had a better show?
That's a good question. I actually wasn't prepared for that specific question, but I'm gonna have to go with AEW. Just because of the end, or no, not the end, the Kenny Omega segment where the Good Brothers came in instead of the Bucks. That was a nice little swerve, and I just enjoyed that most of all over everything on the night. So I'll go with that show.
All right, then we'll start with Dynamite. That's what I was trying to figure out, whether we start with NXT or Dynamite. So we'll start with Dynamite. Pac beat Eddie Kingston with the Black Arrow in 9.5 minutes. Archer and Pac have a fairly unstable alliance, but this was a really good showing for Pac, I thought. I mean, he hasn't wrestled much, and he really showed, that he's ready to get back into it.
Yeah, Pac is one of my favorites. I enjoyed him as Neville when he first came up. I didn't watch him in NXT. I just saw him in WWE's version of Neville, not Adrian Neville. And then, he was kind of okay. But then when he came back as a heel and dominated that cruiserweight division, I was completely sold on heel Neville / the bastard Pac. And ever since he came to AEW, he's turned that up a notch. I know he's been gone for a long time because of the whole situation, but this is a great way to get him back on the map with a nice singles victory over a world title contender. And I can't say enough good things about Pac, man.
Yeah, I have a feeling Pac is going. I mean, I think this Eddie Kingston thing is still probably going to be lingering for a few more weeks. Maybe they get a couple more tag matches out of it. You got Archer in there. But I think Pac is probably one of Omega's first serious title contenders. They had, I haven't seen it listed on any of the TNT awards because I don't think they have a best match category, but Pac versus Omega in an Iron Man match last year in February. That match was incredible. And it's the only disqualification on Dynamite television because they did an Iron Man match, so they kind of didn't have to finish with that, but that was a killer match. So,
yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think I saw that match. Somehow that slipped by me. There was a little period of time where I wasn't staying up to date with AEW. It was about a year ago. So,
yeah,
I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that. I'll find it on Daily Motion or somehow.
Yep. 30-minute Iron Man match, with commercials in there. So. You don't have to totally invest 30, but it's definitely, I think, one of the matches of the year. And I would say it might be the singles match of the year from AEW. So Miro made Chuck Taylor tap out. And I guess we're going with Butler now. Apparently Young Boy was something they didn't want to say on television anymore. I don't know. So, so Chucky T tapped out. The Inner Circle New Year's resolutions. I loved this segment. I don't love every New Year or every Inner Circle interview segment. Sometimes I feel like they go on and on. This one, I don't know. I really liked from the moment Jake Hager said his resolution was championships to the moment MJF said, "We're better than you, and you know it." I love the whole thing. Every moment here in between.
Yeah, again, nothing bad to say about that segment. I mean, the Sammy Hagar reference where Guevara didn't know who the heck that was pretty funny.
Yeah. So I guess Santana and Ortiz, we've discussed in the past how they're kind of just missing in action as far as tag teams go. They haven't had a lot of 2-on-2 tag team matches, and they made issue about that. Jericho's going around as the Sex Gods, and him and Hager, and now him and MJF. So they took issue with Jericho and his, multiple partners pursuing the tag team titles. Sammy Guevara took issue with that. Now we have a triple threat tag team match to determine who's just going to be the Inner Circle representative in the tag team division. On top of that, Ortiz will be working on his grandmother's sofrito recipe. So, another question. MJF said that, his resolution was to strengthen the bond of friendships and get rid of fat people. And so my question, John, is, do you think it's a nefarious resolution, or do you think he's going to try to work with local government to get everybody free vegetables and gym memberships?
I don't know. I think he was talking about mass genocide, which is really concerning for me because I'm pretty obese myself.
I'm as we talk through this, my thoughts on the segment are turning. We had a Dark Order segment. They have a full court press on Adam Page and whether or not he'll be joining the Dark Order. And I guess he's going to let them know next week. I'm not sure if we'll know, but good or bad if Adam Page joins the Dark Order, you think?
I don't know. It would be something for him to do. I feel like he's been lost in obscurity ever since he lost the tag titles with Omega. I don't know how much he fits into the Dark Order, but I don't know where the Dark Order fits into everything at the moment anyway, because like, are they the heels that we sympathetically cheer for? Are they going to actually be faces now? It kind of seemed like they were going that way, but you know, they still are the Dark Order, and you know, to keep kayfabe alive, I don't think the character Brody Lee would be happy with them going all soft because he passed on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I could see, as long as there's another faction for them to feud with, I think we're good. I don't think they necessarily need a dominant singles guy, but eventually we'll get the payoff here and figure that out. But I think in any case, it'll make for some fun segments between now and then.
I'd like to see Evil Uno try to take the reins of that group and be the leader in some way. Yeah,
and I think maybe they would have done that a year ago, but there was so much backlash from the Creepers and everything else that they had a bunch of bad segments early on, and I think Uno was kind of burned in that. Now we're back full circle, and I think he has another opportunity. So good option there. So Don Callis, he convinces Matt and Nick Jackson not to come out at the same time as Kenny Omega because they have great music and a great entrance, with the dollar bills, they're the bucks actually, flying around. And so once Kenny Omega gets to the ring, Don Callis takes the microphone from Justin Roberts and introduces Omega's tag team partners as the World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers. Good Brothers hand out a magic killer to Danny Limelight, who was teaming with the Varsity Blondes, and I guess Bullet Club got a win. I wouldn't say that was the Elite.
Yeah, and speaking of Bullet Club, I saw what Tama Tonga wrote on social media a couple days ago, kind of condemning them for using the Bullet Club names. So I didn't hear them mention it at all yesterday.
No, I think they did mention it on Impact. It's a little weird situation because they're so far removed from Bullet Club at this point. But I guess they're just making it really clear that that's why they are all related, I guess.
Right.
So the waiting room with Cody Rhodes, that guy didn't get a word in edgewise. It was probably your favorite segment of the show.
You know what? Like, I was so happy that I didn't fast forward it because the second I see Cody, I usually fast forward, but I wanted to see what Britt Baker had to say, and she took a few little nice pot shots at him, saying talking about his neck tattoo and how his his unborn baby is going to have an action figure before she does, and they had sparklers going because pyro is mandatory whenever Cody's around.
She did have a few good shots, and they Jade. I'm not going to buy into the hype on Jade until she has a match, but certainly she can get everybody ticked off. That's one thing she can do. And Red Velvet showed a lot of fire in that segment too, and she's about 30 inches shorter than Jade Cargill.
Yeah, Jade looks intimidating though, man. She's like looking like Shaniqua back in the day, as tall as her, man. I was impressed with her look. I haven't seen her before, to be honest with you. I missed her.
Okay. So that segment ended with the Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker sort of on-screen video back and forth. Apparently that match is going to be on Beach Break, which is February 3rd, I believe. So we get that match coming up in a couple of weeks. FTR got a predictable win over Jurassic Express, but Tully Blanchard played a big part of that victory. So poor Marco Stunt gets his butt kicked every time he goes out there.
Yeah, man, and that's the first time I heard Jurassic Express's new music.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I didn't realize when I saw the stuff on the internet that was the song that they were talking about, and it brought back so many memories. I got a pop quiz for you. Do you remember what commercial that song was a part of back in the early 90s? television commercial?
I'm gonna say Double McGum.
No, but it's actually kind of close. It was the new Cool Mint Listerine. It was when Listerine debuted, like something other than the disgusting yellow Listerine. And it was also the theme song for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't have an immediate recollection of the song like most people did. So, but it's really, really catchy. I was there when Jungle Boy had a match on Dark, and they came out with that music, and Marco Stunt was going crazy. He was, I think I've said in the past that he was like Leo Rush to Bobby Lashley. I mean, he was, clapping his hands. The whole crowd was really into the song. So I think when you see that next with a live crowd, I think it'll make a big difference in Jurassic Express's presentation.
Absolutely.
Tay Conti, we mentioned before, she looked really good in her match with Serena Deeb. It was definitely her best outing. We never saw anything like that when she was in NXT. I don't think she ever got that much television time. And I'm questioning whether it might have been the best AEW women's match in recent memory on television, even.
Yeah, it had good natural flow to it. It was like they've been in the ring together a million times with each other before.
Yeah. Darby Allin retained the TNT Championship over Brian Cage. Crucifix bomb off the second rope. Lots of Sting and Team Taz at ringside. It was kind of an ugly match, actually, in terms of Darby Allin getting just tossed around. It was your basic big guy, little guy match, but it was brutal for Darby for most of the match.
Once he went through those tables on the outside towards the beginning of the match, I thought Cage might actually be winning it, but then you got the interference on both sides to even it out.
Well, that spot was crazy, right? I mean, Cage just picks him up. What did he throw him, like 10 feet, it seemed like, out of the ring through those tables? It was quite a distance.
Yeah, he had to be like, I know it was a couple tables next to each other, but he still needed to be pretty careful with his accuracy on that one,
I know my wife was like a few inches either way, and we would have had some major issues there. And then when Cage brought the stairs out, that was the point in the match where my wife got up and said, I'm going to walk away from this match for now. So couldn't watch it after that.
Yeah, that's the thing about Darby Allin, man. It's like he does this cool stuff that you love watching it, but one day I think it's going to bite him in the ass. I think, but at the same time, I think if he went and, knock on wood, got seriously injured, I think that he would not have a problem with it, and that's his legacy,
Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, so next week on Dynamite, we had a bunch of match announcements. Matt Sydal and Top Flight versus Hardy Party. Matt Hardy and Private Party not doing well in terms of negotiating over a percentage that Matt Hardy should get of their contract. The big Dark Order match that Hangman Page will reveal his whether he's going to join the Dark Order. It's Hangman Page, Colt Cabana, Alex Reynolds, John Silver versus TH2 and Chaos Project. So we get an update from Miro on how things are going with his new butler. Nyla Rose versus Layla Hirsch, and Jon Moxley is in action. What do you think in action's chances are against a ticked off Jon Moxley?
0%, unless Callis and Omega get involved. Right. I could see them giving like Marco Stunt a nice roll up win on Moxley.
Yeah, I wonder who they'll bring out. Usually, when you see in action, it's a dark guy, but on occasion, it's a surprise, right? When Sheeta got Abaddon, there's been some Griff Garrison involved. So. Sometimes it's a competitive match, but and I also mentioned Beach Break. We have Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. That's coming up in a couple weeks. So that's Dynamite. Real good show. Lots of fun. On the NXT side of things, we start the show with a spinning neck breaker win over Shotzi Blackheart. Candace LeRae used a spinning neck breaker to get a win over Shotzi Blackheart in 11 minutes. Good opener, I thought.
Yeah, spinning neck breaker off the second rope, too. It was a nice little spot.
Yes. In the next segment, we had Finn Balor approach the ring, and he came out and he said they stopped manufacturing the cloth that he was made from. He issued a word of caution to whoever his next challenger is. Pete Dunne came out, flanked by Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. A brawl breaks out. Undisputed Era breaks it up. Not really sure where things were going to go from there in terms of Finn Balor, but it certainly seems like UE and Pete Dunne and crew are still at each other's throats.
Yeah, I'd love to see another Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne match, man.
Yeah.
Especially with the world title on the line.
Well, and then the other thing is later in the show, we had a video package from Scarlett and Karrion Kross, and they have their eyes set on Finn Balor. So it's really not clear what's happening in terms of the world title picture or the NXT championship picture at the moment.
Yeah, when is their next it's Valentine's Day, right?
Yes, Valentine's Day. Yep.
Yeah, so it seems like Dunne might get a world title match between now and then Kross will get the Valentine's Day match, unless they're saving Kross versus Balor for the WrestleMania NXT.
Velveteen Dream should probably be on that Valentine's Day show, don't you think? His character is kind of meshes well with a Valentine's Day themed episode of TakeOver.
Yeah, who would you put him up against, though? I would have said Johnny, but Johnny's involved already with what's their faces?
Yeah, Johnny would be good. Yeah, Johnny's got Kushida, it looks like, probably.
Yeah, Kushida.
But I don't know. Maybe maybe Karrion Kross. maybe that's the way you avoid having to put them together.
I'd like to see the interactions between Scarlett and Velveteen Dream. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
because everybody's got their wonders about the Dream character. They don't know exactly which way he's going.
Right. And Scarlett is less about words and more about her presentation in terms of look and style and movement. So yeah, a couple of segments with them together. That hourglass being slammed in Dream's face would be pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Although, okay, so here's another option: Dexter Loomis and Karrion Kross, because Loomis could probably draw some pretty cool pictures of Karrion Kross and Scarlett. So I guess we got a few options.
Yeah, I like the Loomis and Kross thing for when Kross is eventually champion again, because I'm assuming he will be. But
yeah, I think so too.
My personal opinion and assumption.
Yeah, we had the opening round of the Dusty Cup that kicked off. 3 matches on the show. Grizzled Young Veterans, Undisputed Era. They both advanced over Everrise and Breezango. Those were pre-advertised. MSK debuted. They eliminated Isaiah Swerve Scott and Jake Atlas. And MSK is the Rascals from Impact. And they had a good showing, actually. I think they had a better showing than they've had on Impact in the last few matches. So,
yeah, it's one of the best debuts I've ever seen on NXT. And, I mean, I haven't really been exposed to the Rascals too much because I just started TNA or Impact, like back in the end of the summer. And it was Trey Miguel was getting most of the opportunity on TV at the time. So I didn't see these two guys that much. So I've only seen a couple of their matches, and this was definitely the best I've seen them look. And, that assisted blockbuster finisher that they do, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like a spine buster and blockbuster in one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and they got new names. I don't even remember what they were. Nash and Carter or something like that.
I wrote them down, actually. Hold on. It's where are we? I don't even see it. Oh, yeah, Nash, Carter, and Wes Lee.
Okay. Right now at minutespelltime.com, they're Des Moines. until I learned the names. The Women's Dusty Cup is supposed to kick off next week. We actually got a rare interview with Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. They are going to be facing Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm next week. So for everybody that picked Casey and Caden to win this tournament, things are not looking good.
Wah, wah. I think that's why they gave him the interview time this week, because they're not going to be around in this tournament very long.
Right.
You're not going to have Mercedes Martinez come back and lose this match unless you're going to start a feud between her and Storm, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case.
It doesn't seem to make sense at the moment.
Right.
We also have announced for the tournament Candace, Larae, and Indy Hartwell as a team, and also Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon as a team. No surprise there, but we don't have full brackets. We don't know how many teams, but that's what we have so far.
I'm thinking there will be 4 more teams. I don't think they're going to go 16.
No, yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be an 8-team tournament. Raquel Gonzalez, she seems to have her sights locked on Io Shirai now, which is interesting because so does Mercedes Martinez based on recent events. So, but it looks like based on the video package, Raquel Gonzalez is probably going to be the next opponent, whether that's TakeOver or whatever.
Yeah, she could be the one. I'm not sure yet, though, but she could be the one, even if it's a transitional champion.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Also in action, Johnny Gargano defeated Dexter Loomis with help from Austin Theory. Theory and Gargano double-teamed Loomis after the match. Kushida made the save, and Kushida seemed to indicate that he's next in line for the North American Championship. I think the sad part about this is it kind of indicates to me what teams are going to get eliminated from the Dusty Cup, because the Dusty Cup will culminate towards the same time as whatever title matches happen. So it looks like Kushida's team and also Johnny Gargano's team probably are not going to be long for the tournament.
Right. We got to see full brackets yesterday on the men's, though. I love tournament brackets, man.
We did see them. I don't have a graphic to pull up, but we do have. They're available. Last week we had the name of Xia Li's victim. This week we didn't get the name, and we didn't need it. It was one punch, one kick. They were both impressive. That punch and that kick. It was 24 seconds. Xia Li with the win. Wasn't enough. She had to continue the beating, and I mean, that whole presentation is awesome at this point.
Yeah, that creepy lady signaled to her that she had to go back and keep doing the beat. Yeah, there was this one was the first beat down, then this one was finisher, and she destroyed her when she went back the second time. I'd love to see where this is going. Maybe Xia Li's the one that takes the belt from Io eventually. The way that they're building her up. I mean, she seems unbeatable and unstoppable right now. I know they've thrown a couple tomato cans at her, but just the way that the training videos and the way her intensity, I love what I'm seeing out of her right now.
I think that this motion is the same as Hulk smash. It's like you will crush her. So lastly, next week we have Ciampa and Thatcher in the fight pit. I'm kind of glad that it's going to be on this episode and not on episode last week, because I think last week we would have gotten rushed through that. This week I think we'll have time for that, the full treatment, and I think it's going to be kind of.
Yeah, and the fact that Thatcher was secretive about his injury makes me wonder if he's going to have some sort of Lex Luger forearm plate or something, where that's going to, whatever kind of injury he had is going to somehow be his advantage in this match. Why are you being secretive about it? And how come Regal doesn't even know what it was, Well, I think that's going to play a part.
In theory, though, I mean, if I were getting ready to head into a match like that, I probably wouldn't be telling my opponent what my injuries were. But I like that to present it that way and have it be like this, plated arm or something like that, or chest, even just a chest protector or some weird thing like that, So,
right.
Okay, we're running a little long, so let's get into our news, and then we'll get trivia and get out of here. So let me play the news bumper. last night on MLW Fusion, we had new MLW Tag Team Champions crowned. Los Parks defeated Ross and Marshall Von Erich. Lots and lots of cheating, and a crooked Tom Lawler referee got them that win. So that was your MLW Fusion recap. On Impact news, we have D'Lo Brown and Matt Stryker are taking over the reins as the new Impact broadcast team. Josh Matthews has been promoted. Madison Rayne will address her future at Hard to Kill. Brown and Stryker debut as the tandem at Hard to Kill. John, thoughts?
I don't know what to think. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Joey Matthews on commentary. I feel the same way about him as Michael Cole a little bit, where it's just like, yeah, he's a familiar voice. It's just that doesn't really add much. It's like they're Vince McMahon's puppet, or like the backstage producer's puppet, as in Josh's case. So I'd like to see more attitude out of Matt Stryker coming out of that side of the booth. And then who'd you say the other one was again? I'm sorry.
D'Lo Brown.
Oh, yeah, D'Lo Brown. I've never heard him on commentary, so I'm real interested to see that.
D'Lo has done a couple of like little things here and there on commentary. I think when he had to sub in or something like that. And so he's fine. So we'll see how they do in terms of carrying the episode. I am actually a fan of Madison Rayne, pretty serious fan of Madison Rayne on commentary, so I'm pretty disappointed she is leaving. I did like the back and forth with her and Josh. Like you said, Josh is vanilla, so as long as Stryker fills in, I think we're fine there. Okay, best wishes going out to Bill Eadie, that's Demolition Axe. He's battling COVID-19. In light of hearing lots of people declaring that they have COVID-19, Drew McIntyre, Chris Jericho had it in September. Nick Jackson had it. So lots of things coming out. But Demolition Axe right now is battling COVID-19. In weird news, Matthew McConaughey says he has interest in getting in a WWE ring. I think it might have been just like a passing comment, but it's fun to think about Matthew McConaughey in WWE. And John Smith, you had an interesting tag team idea for him.
All right, bro. I think him and Matt Riddle would go well together, especially with that Dazed and Confused kind of character that McConaughey played.
Yeah,
I think they would work well.
And I'll go ahead and I'll book the match right now. My hopes and my dreams are that we get that tag team and that they face Bill Goldberg at WrestleMania. There you go. It doesn't need to be a long match; just needs to be, a couple of good entrances and comedic moments, and we'll get out. On Dynamite, they announced that TNT and Bleacher Report are producing the first ever Dynamite Awards. I have the categories and all the nominees. It's probably a lot to get into on this show, but why don't we go through at least the categories, and if there's something that that pops out immediately off the page, then we can talk about that. But best moment on the mic. Is there some, nominated or not, is there some moment that you can think of from the last year on Dynamite, John, that should be a winner here?
I think the debut of Eddie Kingston was my favorite mic moment. I know it's not one of the nominees, but when he came out and I had no idea who he was, and he cut that promo on Cody, that was one of the only times I actually stayed and watched a Cody match, man. I loved him from the second I saw him, only because of that promo.
He grabbed you. Absolutely. I agree with you. I see their nominees, the debates and the different things like that happened, but I do agree. I think that was probably the best promo of the year. And they actually just kicked off a series of good Eddie Kingston promos. But biggest surprise, they also didn't put Eddie Kingston in this category. They've got Matt Hardy and Brody Lee, which was actually the same night. Jake Roberts confronting Cody, Sting's debut, and Miro coming out as their nominees. But any of those are a different one for you?
Biggest surprise, I would have to say, is Sting, because I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah, it was like rumored months beforehand when Sting's contract with WWE ran up. But yeah, I didn't see that particularly happening. So I agree. That was a moment for sure. And with fans, there's about 1,000 of us in the stands. So
Yeah.
breakout star, they have Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, John Silver. I have a hard time putting Eddie Kingston in a breakout star category because he's been around for so long, even though he's just now making it onto television. I like John Silver in this category just because he's truly coming up from an unknown spot.
Absolutely. The other three I had heard of.
Yeah.
Really. I've seen their names in writing at least before this. Not John Silver, though.
Yeah. On the female side, they have the same category, and they've got Sheeta, Anna Jay, Tay Conti, Big Swole, and Penelope Ford. You know, I think Sheeta, actually, because she was known only through AEW before, and she really went crazy this year. So I like Sheeta in that category, actually.
Yeah, same here.
Biggest beatdown is an award category that they have.
Yeah, none of these that are nominated really like stand out in my mind, to be honest with you. And I can't think of another one either.
That Dark Order beatdown of the Nightmare family on the stage, where Anna Jay put Brandy in the Queen Slayer, and
yeah,
I thought that was pretty good. I might lean towards that one.
Yeah.
High Flyer Award: Phoenix, Mark Quinn, Nick Jackson, Pac. Probably give that to Phoenix.
Absolutely.
Hardest moment to clean up after. That's kind of a weird one. But
it's got to be the orange juice.
Yeah. Biggest WTF moment. They've got Cody Rhodes moonsault off the cage, Sammy Guevara hit by the golf cart, Kenny Omega winning the world championship and walking out of AEW, the bloody Dr. Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida, or Young Bucks frog splash off the stadium railings. I would say, I know why they didn't nominate it, but Matt Hardy's fall at the pay-per-view, I think it was All Out, where he clearly shouldn't have continued. That's the WTF moment for me.
Absolutely. But out of these, I would definitely go with Omega with the swerve and Don Callis winning that title.
Yeah. Right in front of us, none of us saw it coming. Laugh Out Loud Award, you got Dinner Debonair, Britt Baker waxing Tony Schiavone, the Young Bucks kicking MJF into a pool, and the Inner Circle Vegas trip.
I'm kind of partial to the Britt Baker, Tony Schiavone segment, to be honest with you.
Yep. Best Twitter follow. John, I know you're not much of a Twitter person, and I follow these people, but I wouldn't even recommend them. So they have MJF, Orange Cassidy, Britt Baker, and Nyla Rose.
I would imagine MJF is the most entertaining.
Yeah. He's insulting to everybody on there, as expected. The Bleacher Report pay-per-view moment of the year. You've got Stadium Stampede, Moxley winning AEW Championship, Sheeta winning the Women's Championship, Omega and Page defeating the Young Bucks at Revolution, Darby Allin winning the TNT title from Cody at Full Gear, and the Young Bucks winning the tag titles at Full Gear. Pay-per-view moment of the year.
I think I would go with Moxley on this one, just because it's a world title switch, and we've only had 2 of those so far.
Yeah, I love that pay-per-view too. I was there for that in Chicago, and it was that the Young Bucks versus Omega and Page on the undercard was a killer match, and the room exploded when Moxley won that title at the end of the night. And we all had to go buy our Moxley championship belt T-shirts that said I was there on the back and stuff like that. So, yeah, fun times. Okay, that gets us through the TNT awards. Gets us through the news. It's trivia time. John, are you stretched? Are you ready? Let me review the score with you.
All right.
You're 3 for 5. You're in pretty good position. John Mcconaughey is way out in the lead with a 10 for 10. He's got 2 Hennings or perfect plexus. So let's see how you do today. "30 years have passed since the 1991 Royal Rumble, and that's going to be what we talk about on today's trivia.
Okay.
The Rockers, in the opening contest, defeated this team. Was it A, Power and Glory, B, the Bushwhackers, C, the Orient Express, or D, the Hart Foundation? Not a title match, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the Rockers were never tag champs.
No.
The Orient Express.
The Orient Express is correct. And I read this morning that Dave Meltzer considered this one of the best pay-per-view match since WrestleMania 3 at the time. So, interesting. Ultimate Warrior went into Royal Rumble 1991 as the WWF champion. He did not leave that way. Who took the title? A, Randy Savage, B, Sergeant Slaughter, C, Hulk Hogan, or D, Ric Flair?
Oh, 91. Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter. Randy Savage hit Warrior over the head with the scepter, allowing Slaughter to drop an elbow and get the pin. Roddy Piper and Gorilla Monsoon were disgusted. The Big Boss Man defeated this member of the Heenan family in the second match of the evening, by the way. Was it A, Rick Rude, B, Haku, C, the Barbarian, or D, Andre the Giant?
Who was the first choice?
A, Rick Rude, B,
okay,
Haku.
yeah, I got the Barbarian. The Barbarian.
Yep, answer correct. That is the Barbarian. You're 3 for 3. Crushing it in Royal Rumble 1991. Two more. We go from Cobb County, Georgia. We go from the Cobb County, Georgia lawman to the Canadian lawman. The Mountie competed against Coco Beware. The Mountie won. That's not the question. Who accompanied Coco to the ring? Was it A, Frankie, B, Owen Hart, C, the British Bulldog, D, Matilda, or E, Damien?
Oh, I know Frankie's the parrot. Was it them? Was it then, or was it Owen Hart? I gotta go with Frankie.
It was Frankie.
Yeah,
I think
I know they were a tag team, him and Owen Hart, High Energy. I just wasn't sure if it was around that time period.
Yeah, it was Frankie. I think High Energy might have been 2 years or 3 years from here. I'd have to check, but it was Frankie. You're 4 for 4 going into the final question, which I think is a layup. Coming in from position number 24, the 1991 Royal Rumble was won by A, Hulk Hogan, B, Ric Flair, C, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, D, Big John Studd.
Hulk Hogan.
Hogan entered 24, and he last eliminated Earthquake. You get the Goldberg Oscar Award today.
Perfect.
5 for 5. Killed it.
My first perfect plex.
There you go.
And by the way, I got a word of advice for everybody. There's this guy that lives next door to me who's been playing VR in his basement. Like probably 40-year-old guy. Doesn't have blinds on his on his window. So every time I open my blinds in the bedroom, I see this guy punch in the air, dancing, Dance Revolution or something. So word of advice, if you're going to get yourself a VR, go ahead and get yourself some blinds for the room that you're going to be playing it in, especially if you're doing it for 6 hours a day.
Words of advice and a pro tip from John Smith. All right, everybody, that's our show for the day. For all the latest in the world of sports, tune into the Primetime Rundown. Check out the EasternObserver.com for details. That show debuts every Friday at 6 p.m. Our show will return on Monday, and I'm expecting it to be a really fun show. We have a special guest lined up. I'll be letting people know who that is as we get closer to Monday's go live time. So thanks everybody for watching. For John, I'm Ryan, and we're getting out of here.